In this original three-part series, we will embark on a journey to the human desire for sugar and the results of it. So do not forget to subscribe this channel and ring on the bell to get the next chapter, because we are starting right now. On the previous chapters of this chronicle, we have seen how the European desire for growing sugar cheaply established two powerful trade triangles that also created the phenomenon of slavery. And now we will turn to the revolutions that sugar produced, which as always are intertwined. The first is the nutritional revolution. Sugar was a rare and a precious material which used by the world of medicine, and only those from the very high classes could reach it or even hear about it. This product becomes cheap and accessible, that is everywhere, and is a major source of calories. It is important to emphasize that even today, sugar is a major source of calories on which everyone relies, especially the weaker classes and people that lives in poverty. And this is especially true in the developed and rich countries where food is unlimited. Sugary-rich industrial food, already prepared and packed to satisfy the consumer, sold at much lower price than a fresh food, which must be purchased, laid, cooked, baked and served. All these actions require time and money. The working classes in the Western world, preoccupied with survival on a daily basis, has no privilege to stop producing output, namely to work for a living and invest their time and money for preparing a meal. They are looking for solutions to a shorter of time which is required for the installation of food and for the money that it costs. A second revolution is consumption revolution. In fact, the transition from a prestigious product to everyday commodity is the pattern of consumption. The commodities that belong to the elite suddenly, by industrialization, are attainable, and that's what creates a new era for the world's industry. A second point in the consumption revolution is the fact that sugar has become a major component in the food industry and an addictive substance that drives the wheels of the modern consumerism. Today, most of the world, most of us, are addicted to sugar, and in fact, sugar has been introduced as a major component in all types of industrial food. Try to imagine the world of branding and advertising if Coca-Cola was not created. Let's try to imagine a contemporary childhood but without this product. Try to describe the restaurant industry without this brand. The next revolution is the industrial revolution. To produce sugar in large quantities and create a revolution of industrialization, there is a need for precision and coordination between the process. This agricultural model developed in Europe in the 16th century in the New World, in fact, became the model of the industrialized agriculture. Later, the sugar becomes the fuel that drives the industrial revolution, as a product and as calories consumed by the workers who worked and motivated the process itself. The next revolution is a human revolution. The sugar consumption and the industrial revolution are related to the European desire to produce sugar cheaply and to create the phenomenon of slavery. So, without entering into a racism issue, all we consider as an Afro-American, blues, gospel, LeBron James, reggae, and all the African-American culture, it all began by establishing the system that captures people and transfers them as slaves to the New World.
Now when I was a young boy, about the age of 5, my mama told me I'll be the greatest man alive. Now I'm a man. I've been 21 years.
The latest revolution is the addiction for stimulants drugs revolution. The sugar is connected to the level of 3 bitter and stimulating substances: tea, coffee, and cocoa. All 3 are mixed with sugar and milk that will form the fatty component. This combination has made in Europe and makes those materials the drugs that energize almost everyone all over the world. And not only that, these materials became the substance that make it possible to work in the modern era. Our ability to work 16 hours a day is related direct with the mug placed on the table in front of us.
Anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
Sugar and coffee allow us to squeeze more and more from our body and work far beyond our physical capacity. The combination of these addictive substances, coffee, a stimulant in itself, with sugar, creates in our body a strong boost of energy. And here it is, addictive drug, very stimulating, cheap, available, and legal, of course, because what country would want to ban material that people want, and it makes them work more and more and produce more and more. Sugar significantly stimulated the development of industry and the modern economy. But the world seems to be moving too fast, and it becomes clear that some of the modern diseases, such as ADHD, a terrible epidemic that affects mainly children and youth, and not only, in a technologically advanced countries that have a lot of food, the relationship between this disorder and carbohydrates, especially sugar, is becoming increasingly disturbing. And of course, there are many other diseases that characterize those countries, and all those are closely related to sugar. Sugar has become a substance that we all consume daily, but even though we understand how dangerous it is, sugar will probably be consumed even more. As we showed at the beginning of the series, sugar production produces calories per unit area as no agricultural cultivation can produce. We live in a crowded world, perhaps too much, hungry, maybe too much. All forecasts predict an increase in the size of the population and the need in more and more food. It is difficult to see a waiver of a major source of calories like sugar. Then the processes we talked about will grow stronger. Sugar was the driving force and the fuel for the conquest of the New World. It created the phenomenon of slavery and forced migration of blacks to America. It's responsible to the industrialization of agriculture, to the Industrial Revolution, and to create the consumery culture. It changed not only the taste, but also the economy, industry, and the social structure. Sugar is considered to be the one of the most dangerous toxins consumed by man. But it is difficult in our dense world to see a concession for such effective source of calories as is. So next time you add sugar to your coffee, remember the complicity, the importance, and the danger. I would like to thank the great people who shared the knowledge to drove me to create this series. That's Professor Sidney Mintz, of course, and Dr. Nir Avieli from Ben-Gurion University. I want to welcome all the new subscribers, and I am sure you will continue to enjoy Foodie Eyes videos. So comment to this video and ring on the bell to get the next one. Thanks for watching and see you on the next.